Ladies and gentlemen, it's another review week. The week where we go over a bunch of cool stuff, whether it is basic blasters, pro blasters, modded stuff, whatever it is. And we got quite an interesting lineup this week, so y'all might want to stick around and see what kind of goodies we got in store for y'all. And for this episode, we're trying things a little bit differently. I keep knocking things over in these episodes. Good lord. We got these two suckers. Two very different blasters from two completely different eras that I found at Goodwill. But I thought to myself, looking at them, I could actually find a way to do a video with them because they actually have somewhat things in common. Somewhat. Not much. Let's talk about them. Included in each of the boxes, starting with the Crossfire, is the Crossfire blaster itself. Oh, good. Some official dart tag glasses. There was a bunch of loose dart tag darts, a bag full of dart tag darts, and a dart tag Velcro shield that actually has the darts stick to them. And then in the Kronos package was the Kronos itself. Ooh, hello. Woo! With instructions and 5 rival rounds. There's a lot to go over in this video, guys. Now, you guys may be asking to yourself, why are these blasters still important? Especially this thing. This thing is old as dirt. Well, let me tell you something. This blaster came from a time in Nerf when things were good. N-Strike was at its peak. It had some of the coolest blasters. Stampede, Recon, frickin' Longshot, everything else that was coming out that was awesome. But then Dart Tag became a thing. And it changed the game for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Because Dart Tag was something that Nerf tried to do that they haven't really done anything to that extent in a long time. Dart Tag is when Nerf tried to do professional games, like when they try to turn Nerf into a sport. And that's why they have these super cool Velcro darts and this little Velcro shield thing. And if you also know, they had like big old Velcro vests, because it was actually like Dart Tag. If you shot somebody with a dart and it stuck to you, that was actually a cool way of calling a hit. You got stuck. It's not like, oh, I didn't get hit, it bounced off of me. We can see you got shot. It's right there. And that was super cool. They also had these, cool eye protection. They had accessories for all sorts of different things. This is a bag full of Velcro darts. This is so sick, and I'm so happy I found this. And I have like 4 or 5 of these things already, but It's one of those little bits of history that is just so cool to look back on and remember, because this was a time when Nerf was so freaking cool. I remember that very well because that's when I actually started getting into Nerf. My first 2 Nerf blasters were a pair of Night Finders. I don't have those exact Night Finders now, but I do have Night Finders, which still just brings me a lot of joy. But that's when I started watching videos from, Nerf tricks and all that kind of stuff for the different types of Nerfers on the field, or, just all sorts of cool movies people try to make with Nerf blasters. It was the coolest thing ever. And that's why I want to talk about this blaster and this re-bring up Dart Tag in general, because that was so cool. That was the coolest part, in my opinion, of Nerf, the company, is when N-Strike and Dart Tag were at its peak. Just before Elite came out, Vortex was starting to come out. This was peak Nerf. That cusp of N-Strike and Dart Tag turning into Elite, that was the peak of Nerf, in my opinion. That whole time frame right there was so incredible. And this blaster, too, I feel like had a little bit of an impact on some of the things we do nowadays as well. You may be thinking, why? It's just a random little pistol. Well, I guess cool thing, it's got, dart storage on the front. You can hold 5 extra darts, which is probably why it's called the Crossfire, because it makes an X across the front, boop, boop. and then 1 dart in the barrel. But then it's reverse plunger. Doesn't have as much power as most pistols do nowadays, especially something in this size in the hobby. But you see this random little piece of tack rail on top here? This is not tack rail. This is reverse tack rail. This means you can attach this blaster to something else and have 2 blasters in one, effectively. So you could prime this, slide it on the top rail of a blaster, and then just be ready to shoot somebody with more than 1 dart. Which was super sick. And I've done that a few times with some blasters, but just... I feel like this was the start of people trying to attach blasters to others. Because I know I've seen people take take this piece off of the Crossfire and put it on other blasters. Like, that's just so cool. Like I said, that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite time period of Nerf. Was when people were just trying all the randomest and coolest things. Attaching blasters to others. Frickin' the Titan was also doing that at the time. But I could go on and rant so much about how much I love N-Strike, Dart Tag, that. I could rant so much about that, like all day if I wanted to. But I feel like this also led into the creation of Rival. Rival is also another one of Nerf's attempts at making a pro line of blasters. When Rival first came out and produced, the Apollo, the Zeus, the Atlas, all those super cool blasters, the Artemis, all those blasters, it was game-changing. It was Nerf making things more powerful, more accurate-ish, not after like 40, 50 feet with these things, but they were making things that were legitimately more powerful, tougher grade blasters, big chunky grips for bigger players. It was really cool. That was another cool time period when people thought Nerf was going full pro. They were making super cool blasters, and we got a brand new ammo type, which is the Rival round. And people love the Rival round because they're small. You can fit a lot of these in a really small area and get like 30 round capacity in maybe a couple inches. It's really cool. People loved Rival when it came out, and they still do. People still make all sorts of cool Rival stuff. Not so much Nerf anymore, but that's besides the point. And this blaster, the Kronos, is a prime example of a blaster people loved. Now, it originally came out in white, and I'll show a quick little picture right here of what an original Kronos looks like. But this is one I found at Goodwill in the color red. I'm not a huge fan of, I guess, the red on here. I'd prefer the blue. The blue's closer to purple. What am I going to do? But just in general, it's a Kronos. That's just what you need to get your head around. It's a Kronos. And people loved the Kronos because it was a Rival pistol. People wanted a Rival pistol. The Apollo wasn't that. Everything else was all big and rifle-like. They wanted something powerful but in a smaller package. And that's what the Kronos is. It is a... Oh, hello, yeah. Okay. There you go, yeah. Slide action, spring-powered, internal magazine blaster, where you open up the little door here and load in your Rival rounds into there. If I close that, and then fire, woo! A Rival round comes out of there with a good amount of force. And this was super cool. People loved the Kronos. They made holsters. They made mod kits for it. They made this thing shoot half darts, Mega XL, frickin' T-pole prime, pump action, shotgun. Literally all sorts of cool stuff came out for the Kronos, because people loved the Kronos. It was a great platform for people to use. And this video might just turn into a bunch of rambling, which is why it's a double video and a bonus video, because it's... I say double because it's 2 blasters. But it's worth it because I feel like people forget sometimes that Nerf had some really cool ideas at the times. And we gloss past that because Nerf nowadays is not as good, but just... I'm rambling a bunch. I don't care. There's a lot of things to love about original Rival, Dart Tag, all that stuff. Before I waste too much time, let's actually get some chronograph readings and then shoot it at our target and then finish talking about it. I'm not going to use Nitro Shot darts because I want this to be full nostalgia using the Dart Tag darts. So let's get the sucker going run some tests over the chronograph. All right. We got our handy dandy chronograph right here and ready. We got the Crossfire up first. We're going to fire all 6 shots on the Crossfire and just see what kind of performance we were getting back in ye old gooden days. 39. 38. 34. 35. 37. 38. So that average is, yeah, right in the mid-30s, high to mid-30s. Which isn't terrible. Still somewhat useful for a blaster of this size. From stock Nerf back in... What year did this come out? 2003? Is that what it says? 2005. I can't read. Huh. Dang. Let's try the Kronos out. Alright, we are here with the Kronos, firing its 5 original rival rounds that it came with. As you see, you just load them right here in the top, in the internal mag. You can close the door if you want. Slam that priming handle home, and let's just see how much punch this thing actually has. Woo! 97. 94. 77. There we go. 90. And 94. So minus that 77, average of around 90 FPS. But all the other ones were quite high. Almost touching that 100 FPS. Which is good, because that's what Rival is supposed to be hitting, around the 90s and 100 FPS range. Let's go ahead and test the accuracy of both of these things down the range, speaking of which. Alright, I got our Crossfire all loaded up here with the dart tag darts that came with it. And I got the Kronos on my side here for afterwards. We are going to start with our Crossfire, see if we can hit anything at all. Oh my lord. I will say, oh jeez, this dart is not having a good life right now. I will say this, dart tag darts are known to be drastically heavier than a standard dart. So I bet you, ooh, I actually got hit. I bet you if I use something like the Nitro Shot or even Elite darts, I get much better performance. Oh my gosh. Come on. Hey! Right on the bullseye. Alright. Trade these out for the Kronos. These suckers are gonna go rolling everywhere. Let's see what we get. Woo! Straight as an arrow. Oh yeah. You're not gonna mess with this thing under 30 feet. It's... Rival is just better at indoors than outdoors anyway. Let's go finish talking about these things. This video's already gone on long enough. Let's just end this. So overall, how do we feel about these blasters? Well, obviously, this thing isn't going to be winning any battles or beauty contests or nothing nowadays. But the part of history that it came from and the things people have adapted and used from the Crossfire is kind of incredible to me. And the fact that people are still using some of these methods to this day is crazy. The whole attaching blasters to others, I don't doubt one bit that it came from the Crossfire being able to do that. Like, if I could... Can I? Barely. Yeah, look at that. Now I have 2 blasters that I can use in combat right now. For my close range and my long range. Look at that. It's fantastic. But, yeah, the whole story of the Crossfire and dart tag and everything, that's a part of Nerf that I miss. And that's why I love that's why I love talking about and bringing up that history, because it's so cool to me. I love it. And then, of course, the Kronos. the golden child of Rival. The blaster that people love probably the most from Rival, collectively. Yes, there's things like the Perseus, Prometheus, the frickin' Hades, Artemis. Those are all good. The Pilot, Knockout, all those are good. But this hits home. This hits home real well for a lot of people. It's the look, it's the feel, it's the modability and the capabilities of this blaster that made people so happy. And I'm happy about that too. That just means there's never going to be an end of creativity and modability in this hobby, which is awesome. But let me know what you guys think of, I guess, the Crossfire, but Dart Tag as a whole, and then the Kronos and everything that came from that. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear it. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in another video. Bye!